The cold metal of the briefing room in the Vraxen command center gleamed under the harsh lights as Zara, the esteemed assassin, entered. She moved with an elegance that belied her deadly nature, her steps silent against the steel floor. Across the room, her handler, Commander Krell, a stern-faced Vraxen with deep-set eyes, waited. "Zara," Krell began, his voice resonating with authority, "your next assignment is critical. You've been selected for your exceptional skills and your flawless record. This mission takes you to Earth." Zara raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Earth? That's quite distant. Who is the target?" Krell activated the holographic projector, and an image of a human male flickered into view. "Ethan Reed," he said, zooming in on a face marked by intelligence and a certain rugged charm. "A key military strategist whose actions have halted our advances more than once. His elimination could shift the balance of power in our favor." "Why the direct approach?" Zara questioned, crossing her arms. "Isn't this what sleeper agents are for?" Krell shook his head. "Reed is no ordinary target. He has evaded our previous attempts. We need someone who can adapt and overcome unexpected challenges. That's you." Zara studied the image of Ethan Reed. "Very well. When do I leave?" "Immediately. We have arranged your cover as a diplomat for the Intergalactic Peace Symposium on Earth. This will give you close access to Reed." As Zara turned to leave, Krell added, "Remember, Zara, failure is not an option. Reed's death is crucial for our plans to proceed." Zara nodded, her expression unreadable. Once outside, she headed to the armory. The armorer, a grizzled old Vraxen named Tark, greeted her with a nod. "Heard you got a high-priority mission, Zara. What'll it be this time? The usual assortment?" "Something less conventional, Tark. Close encounters are likely, and I need to blend in. Any suggestions?" Tark's eyes gleamed with a mixture of respect and challenge. "For close work, how about the C-10 compact blasters? Silent, deadly, and they'll fit right into your diplomatic ensemble." "Add a neural disruptor, too," Zara suggested, "in case things get too close." "Right. One step ahead, as always," Tark replied, packing the sleek weapons into a nondescript diplomatic pouch. As Zara prepared to leave for Earth, her thoughts lingered on Ethan Reed. The assignment was straightforward, but her instincts warned her of complexity. She boarded her spacecraft, a sleek vessel designed for speed and stealth, the tools of her trade by her side. Alone in the cockpit, Zara set her course for Earth. The stars blurred into streaks of light as she engaged the hyperdrive. The mission was clear, but as the blue planet began to loom large before her, Zara felt an unusual flicker of doubt. Was it about the mission, or was it about her target? Only time would tell. The Earth shone like a jewel against the backdrop of space as Zara's ship descended through the atmosphere. Her cover as a diplomat provided her with immediate clearance, and she soon found herself navigating the bustling corridors of the United Nations Space Coalition headquarters, located in New Geneva. Upon arriving, Zara was whisked away to a briefing on interstellar relations, where she spotted Ethan Reed for the first time. He was engaged in a lively discussion with a group of delegates, his presence commanding yet approachable. As she moved closer to get a better listen, a minor commotion at the back of the room caught everyone's attention. A delegate from a minor planet stumbled, papers flying as he tripped over a misplaced briefcase. Without a moment's hesitation, Ethan excused himself from the conversation and helped the delegate gather his scattered papers. Zara, seizing the opportunity, approached under the pretense of assisting. "Quite the first day at the symposium, isn't it?" she remarked casually as she handed a few sheets back to the embarrassed delegate. Ethan looked up from his crouched position, his eyes meeting hers. "It seems so," he replied with a warm smile. "Thank you for helping out. I'm Ethan Reed." "Zara Tellis," she introduced herself, her heart racing, not from fear but from the unexpected flutter of attraction. "I'm here representing the Vraxen system." Ethan's demeanor remained friendly, but his eyes held a sharp intelligence. "Vraxen, you say? It's rare to see your people at these events. What brings you to the symposium?" Zara, well prepared, responded smoothly. "We are exploring peace initiatives. My superiors believe it's time to engage more fully with the interstellar community." "That's a commendable change in direction," Ethan noted, his tone sincere yet cautious. "Perhaps we'll have more opportunities to collaborate." Their conversation was interrupted as the session leader called the room to order. Ethan offered Zara a parting nod. "I look forward to hearing more about your initiatives. Maybe we can chat during the break." As Ethan returned to his seat, Zara felt a mixture of relief and complication. Engaging with her target on such a personal level was not what she had planned. However, it provided the perfect cover to stay close and learn his routines, an ideal situation for an assassin, yet troubling for reasons she couldn't quite pinpoint. Throughout the session, Zara listened intently not only to the discussions, but also to the subtle inflections of Ethan's voice as he spoke passionately about peace and collaboration. His ideals, so starkly different from what she had been taught about humans, intrigued her. During the break, as promised, Ethan found Zara by the refreshments. "So, Zara Tellis of Vraxen, tell me more about yourself. What's it like being an ambassador from such a closed-off system?" Zara chuckled, playing along. "It's as challenging as you might imagine. But moments like these, talking about potential peace, it makes it worthwhile." Ethan nodded, looking genuinely interested. "I believe in the power of change, Zara. Maybe together our people can find a path to mutual understanding." As they continued talking, Zara found herself caught off guard. Her mission was clear, but Ethan's earnestness and unexpected charm were beginning to breach the walls she had built around her emotions. In the following days, Zara embedded herself deeper within the diplomatic circles, attending seminars and social gatherings, always keeping a watchful eye on Ethan Reed. His routine was predictable during the day, filled with meetings, briefings, and public appearances. However, his evenings were more guarded, reserved for private strategizing sessions or secure communications with military bases. One evening, as she was analyzing the patterns in Ethan's schedule, Zara decided it was time to strike. Armed with a small, concealable blaster and the neural disruptor Tark had given her, she shadowed Ethan from a discreet distance as he left the symposium hall. Ethan took a secluded path back to his quarters, a route through a dimly lit park that seemed perfect for Zara's purposes. She quickened her pace, closing the gap between them, her heart pounding not just from the physical exertion, but from the weight of what she was about to do. Just as she prepared to step out and confront Ethan, a sudden noise, a rustling in the nearby bushes, caused Ethan to turn sharply. Zara instinctively hid behind a tree, watching as a small, stray animal scurried across the path. Ethan watched it go with a slight smile and continued on his way, unaware of the danger that had just lurked so close. Frustrated but cautious, Zara followed him to his building, noting the security measures in place. It was clear that a direct approach would be too risky here. She needed a new strategy, one that allowed for a more controlled environment. The next opportunity presented itself at a gala meant to celebrate the successful negotiations at the symposium. It was a lavish affair, with delegates from various planets mingling in an atmosphere of hopeful camaraderie. Zara, dressed elegantly to blend in, scanned the room for Ethan. She found him engaged in a deep conversation with several high-ranking officials. Using her diplomatic cover, Zara approached the group. She engaged in the conversation, gradually steering the topic towards security issues. This piqued Ethan's interest, and he soon dominated the discussion, explaining his theories and strategies with a passionate intensity. Seeing her chance, Zara interjected with a proposal. "Mr. Reed, I'm particularly interested in your views on the vulnerability of interstellar communications. Perhaps we could discuss this in a more private setting. I believe my system could greatly benefit from your expertise." Ethan, always eager to share his knowledge for the greater good, agreed. "Of course, Miss Tellis. Shall we find a quiet corner now?" Zara led him towards a secluded balcony, where the distant murmur of the party was just a soft echo. The cool night air was a sharp contrast to the warm buzz of the gala inside. As they stood overlooking the city lights, Zara felt a pang of conflict. Ethan stood there, so full of life and passion, unknowingly at the mercy of his would-be assassin. She subtly reached into her purse, her fingers brushing against the cool metal of the blaster. Just as she was about to draw it, Ethan turned to her with a reflective expression. "You know, Zara, in all my years of service, I've learned that peace isn't just about avoiding war. It's about understanding, about reaching out even when it's hard. That's what I see in our talks, a chance for real peace." His words struck a chord in Zara. She hesitated, her weapon half drawn. Was she really prepared to kill this man who stood for everything she had begun to admire? The moment passed, and Zara withdrew her hand from her purse, masking her internal turmoil with a nod. "Thank you, Mr. Reed. I believe our systems have much to learn from each other." As they returned to the gala, Zara knew that her mission was failing, but for the first time, she questioned if her failure might actually be a step toward something greater. Over the next few days, Zara found herself increasingly conflicted. grappling with the growing respect she felt for Ethan and the stark reality of her mission. Despite multiple opportunities, her resolve to eliminate him wavered each time. Each conversation they shared revealed more of Ethan's commitment to peace and understanding, qualities she had never expected to find in a human, let alone her target. One late evening, as the symposium neared its end, Ethan and Zara found themselves walking together along a quiet corridor of the conference center, discussing the potential for future alliances between their people. Ethan's earnestness was palpable, his eyes alight with the possibility of lasting peace. "It's not just treaties that forge peace, Zara. It's relationships, trust, and mutual respect," Ethan said, his voice resonant in the empty hallway. Zara nodded, her own voice barely a whisper. "I understand more than you know, Ethan, and I have something I must confess." Ethan stopped walking, turning to face her, his expression one of concern. "What is it, Zara?" Taking a deep breath, Zara's next words felt like a betrayal to her mission, yet a tribute to the truth she had come to embrace. "I was sent here to kill you, Ethan." The silence that followed was profound. Ethan's shock was evident, his body tensing as he processed her words. After a long moment, his voice was surprisingly calm. "Why?" Zara met his gaze, her own filled with turmoil. "Because you are seen as a threat to the interests of my people. Because your death was supposed to ease the tensions in ways they could manipulate. But I can no longer do it. I've seen who you are. I believe in what you stand for." Ethan's initial shock gave way to contemplation, his analytical mind piecing together her words with his experiences. This confession. "It could mean death for you, Zara. Why risk it?" "Because I believe there might be another way. Because killing you would be wrong," Zara replied, her conviction growing with each word. Ethan took a step closer, his demeanor softening. "What you're doing now, this is brave. It's a step towards the very peace we've been discussing. If you're willing, help me understand your people better. Help me find a way to show them that they don't need to kill to get what they want." Zara felt a weight lift from her shoulders, yet the danger of her situation loomed large. "It won't be easy. Others will come after you." "I know," Ethan acknowledged, "but every peace has its price. Let's face this together." Their alliance formed in that quiet corridor would change the course of their actions. Instead of planning an escape or an attack, they plotted revelation and reconciliation. They agreed to gather evidence of the conspiracy behind her mission, intending to bring it to light, to show both humans and Vraxans that there were those who benefited from their ongoing conflict. As they walked back into the conference area, their steps were measured, their bond sealed by shared secrets and a common goal. Zara knew the road ahead would be fraught with danger, but for the first time, she felt she was on the right path. The path not of an assassin, but of a peacemaker, guided by a man she was sent to kill but had grown to admire and trust. The newfound alliance between Zara and Ethan marked a pivotal shift in their mission. No longer adversaries, they now shared a common goal, to unravel the conspiracy that sought to fuel the fires of war between their civilizations. Their first step was to discreetly gather intelligence and identify the key players involved in orchestrating Zara's assassination mission. Working from Ethan's quarters, they transformed the space into a makeshift command center, using Ethan's secure communication links to access classified data and Zara's contacts to gather insider information from the Vraxan system. Their collaboration was seamless, driven by a mutual respect and an urgent need to prevent further escalation of conflict. Ethan focused on the digital footprint of the conspiracy, tracing back the encrypted messages Zara had received regarding her mission. "Look at this," Ethan said, pointing to a series of communications on his screen. The orders didn't come through regular command channels. They're routed through private servers located on neutral planets. Zara, leaning over his shoulder, nodded thoughtfully. "These servers are often used by mercenaries and black market dealers. This suggests that someone is working very hard to cover their tracks, someone not officially aligned with our governments." As they delved deeper, it became clear that a shadowy third party was manipulating events to their advantage, possibly to profit from the ongoing hostilities through arms dealing and post-war reconstruction contracts. They needed more concrete evidence, though, to expose the culprits and sway public opinion against them. Their next move was to meet with a contact of Ethan's, a whistleblower within the human military who had hinted at corruption. They arranged a clandestine meeting in an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the city, under the cover of darkness. "Are you sure we can trust this person?" Zara asked as they parked their vehicle a short distance away from the meeting point. Ethan checked his weapon before tucking it away discreetly. As much as we can trust anyone in this situation, he's risking a lot by coming forward. They approached the warehouse cautiously, aware of the risk of ambush. Inside, the vast, dimly lit space was quiet, the only sound their footsteps echoing off the concrete. A figure stepped out from the shadows, a man in military attire with a cautious demeanor. "Ethan?" the man called out softly. "Yes, it's me," Ethan replied, moving forward. "And this is Zara. You said you had information for us?" The whistleblower, a middle-aged man with a weary expression, nodded. "I've seen the evidence of kickbacks and unauthorized weapons shipments. They're using the war as a cover for significant financial gains. Here, take these documents," he said, handing over a USB drive. As they were speaking, a sudden noise from the back of the warehouse startled them. Ethan instinctively pushed Zara behind a stack of crates, drawing his weapon. The whistleblower did the same, scanning the dark corners of the building. Minutes passed, a tense silence enveloping them until they were certain it was safe. They quickly wrapped up their meeting, knowing that staying any longer would be too risky. With the USB drive in hand, they returned to their command center. As they uploaded the files, the scope of the conspiracy began to unfold, an intricate web of deceit involving multiple species and governments. "We have enough here to start making some noise, to bring this to the public," Ethan said, his eyes meeting Zara's. "Ready to change the galaxy?" Zara, feeling the weight of their discoveries, nodded. "Let's do it. No more secrets, no more lies." Their partnership, forged in secrecy and built on a foundation of unexpected trust, was about to challenge the very nature of the interstellar conflict. As they prepared to expose the truth, both felt the gravity of what lay ahead, knowing they could very well be shaping the future of their respective races. With the incriminating data in hand, Zara and Ethan were now poised to take their findings public. But first, they needed to secure a platform where their voices could be heard without the risk of being silenced by the very forces they were trying to expose. Ethan suggested they leverage an upcoming interstellar broadcast, typically used for major diplomatic announcements, as it would be difficult for their adversaries to intercept or shut down without attracting widespread attention. Zara agreed, seeing the strategic value in using such a public and protected channel. "However, we need to ensure our evidence is irrefutable," Ethan noted as he organized the data into a coherent presentation. "We're not only accusing powerful entities of corruption, but also of betraying their own species for profit." Zara worked alongside him, her expertise in espionage proving invaluable in piecing together the puzzle. "This goes deeper than we thought," she remarked, examining a complex flow of funds that implicated high-ranking officials in both human and Vraxan governments. "Look at this web of transactions. It connects military contractors, anonymous shell companies, and known mercenaries." As they prepared their report, Zara contacted a trusted ally within the Vraxan diplomatic corps, Varel, who had grown increasingly disillusioned with the shadowy dealings of their government. Varel was instrumental in arranging the logistics for their broadcast, ensuring the security and anonymity of their feed. The day of the broadcast arrived. Zara and Ethan, from a secure, undisclosed location, began their transmission to the galaxy. "Citizens of the United Systems and the Vraxan Empire," Ethan started, his voice steady and clear. "We come before you not as representatives of our governments, but as individuals committed to truth and peace." Zara took over, detailing the evidence they had uncovered. "We have discovered a conspiracy that not only perpetuates the war between our races, but profits from it. Here is the proof of illegal arms trades, kickbacks, and corruption that reach the highest levels of power." The reaction was immediate and explosive. Across various planets, news outlets picked up the story, broadcasting the details of their report. Governments were forced to respond as public outrage grew, demanding accountability and transparency. Meanwhile, Ethan and Zara continued to stay hidden, monitoring the fallout of their revelations. They knew that their actions would make them targets, but also hoped that bringing the conspiracy to light would protect them to some extent. As the days passed, several high-profile arrests were made, including military officials and business magnates who had been implicated in the scandal. Protests erupted on multiple planets, with citizens calling for reforms and an end to the war. "We've started something we must now see through to the end," Ethan said to Zara as they planned their next moves. "The real work begins now, building peace out of these revelations." Zara, looking at the reports of peaceful demonstrations and calls for unity, felt a mix of apprehension and hope. We've shown them the corruption that fueled the war. Now, we need to show them the benefits of peace. Their partnership had evolved from uneasy allies to co-conspirators in a plot for peace, driven by a shared vision of a future where humanity and the Vraxen could coexist without manipulation and deceit. As they prepared to step out from the shadows, Zara and Ethan knew the path forward would be fraught with challenges, but for the first time, it was a path they chose together, fortified by the truth they had brought to light. After their revelations shook the foundations of interstellar politics, Zara and Ethan found themselves at the heart of a galactic crisis. With their identities now known, they became prime targets not just for the conspirators seeking to silence them, but also for those seeking to exploit the chaos for their own gain. Knowing they couldn't stay hidden forever, they decided to confront one of the key masterminds behind the conspiracy. A powerful and reclusive arms dealer known only as the Broker, believed to be hiding in a fortified space station in the lawless fringes of the galaxy. Armed and ready, they navigated Ethan's stealth ship through asteroid fields to mask their approach, discussing their strategy. "The Broker will be expecting us," Ethan said, eyeing the radar. "We need to be fast and precise. No room for error." Zara checked her weapons, her assassin's instincts on high alert. "I'll take the lead in combat. You focus on securing any additional data from the Broker's systems. We may only get one shot at this." They docked quietly in an auxiliary bay, avoiding detection. The dimly lit corridors of the space station echoed with the distant hum of machinery and muffled voices. Using a compact tactical drone, they scouted ahead, mapping out a path to the Broker's command center. As they moved deeper into the station, they encountered guards. Zara's combat skills were unmatched, allowing them to advance with minimal noise, taking down opponents before they could raise an alarm. Ethan, meanwhile, installed small surveillance disruptors, ensuring their actions remained unseen. Reaching the Broker's command center, they found themselves facing reinforced security doors. Ethan quickly set to work, hacking the control panel. "Give me a minute," he murmured, fingers flying over the holographic keys. Zara stood guard, her senses tingling with the anticipation of imminent danger. "We don't have a minute," she whispered back, hearing the increasing sounds of approaching guards. Just as the doors slid open, a barrage of gunfire erupted down the corridor. Zara returned fire, her accuracy lethal. Ethan grabbed the data they needed from the Broker's mainframe during the firefight. With the data secured, they began their retreat, maneuvering through alternative routes Zara had memorized earlier. They seemed to be in the clear until they reached the docking bay, where they were ambushed by the Broker himself, accompanied by his elite guards. The Broker, a towering figure clad in a battle suit, sneered at them. "You think you can expose me and live to tell the tale?" Zara stepped forward, her voice steady. "This ends now, Broker. Your reign of manipulation is over." A fierce battle ensued, pushing Zara and Ethan to their limits. Utilizing a combination of guerrilla tactics and direct assaults, they managed to overpower the guards. Zara faced the Broker in a final, tense standoff, managing to disarm him after a grueling hand-to-hand combat. With the Broker defeated and his operations exposed, Zara and Ethan hurried back to their ship, the stolen data now ready to be broadcast galaxy-wide. As they set course away from the space station, the weight of their actions settled in. "We did it, Ethan," Zara said, her voice a mix of exhaustion and relief. Ethan nodded, looking at the data they had secured. "It's over for the Broker, but this is just the beginning for us. Time to show the galaxy there's a new way to live, free from fear and corruption." As their ship disappeared into the vastness of space, the pair looked ahead to the future, knowing the hardest part of their journey was yet to come. They had enemies, certainly, but now they had something stronger, a shared purpose and a bond forged in the heat of battle. After their daring escape from the space station and the conclusive defeat of the Broker, Zara and Ethan returned to Earth to prepare for the final phase of their plan. With the comprehensive data they had extracted, they aimed to dismantle the remaining structures of the conspiracy and advocate for a lasting peace between humans and Vraxens. In the relative safety of a United Nations Space Coalition safehouse, they organized a global broadcast. This broadcast was not just to share the evidence against the Broker and his network, but also to propose a new framework for interstellar relations, emphasizing transparency, cooperation, and mutual respect. "As we go live, remember, the whole galaxy will be watching us," Ethan said, adjusting the communication equipment. "It's not just about exposing the truth anymore. It's about shaping the future." Zara, reviewing her notes one last time, nodded. Let's make sure it's a future worth fighting for. The broadcast began, and Ethan addressed the audience, his voice resonant and confident. People of Earth and the Vraxan Empire, we've shown you the corruption that fueled our conflicts. Today, we stand before you to propose a new path forward. Zara took over, her tone earnest and compelling. This proposal includes the establishment of a joint Human-Vraxan Peace Council, tasked with ensuring that the interests of both peoples are represented and respected. We invite leaders from all planets to join this council. The response was immediate and overwhelmingly positive. Messages of support flooded in from across human and Vraxan territories, with many expressing relief and hope for a peaceful future. Leaders from both sides reached out, eager to be involved in the Peace Council. Amidst this wave of optimism, Zara and Ethan were invited to speak at the Galactic Peace Summit, held on a neutral space station designed to facilitate diplomatic engagements. Here, the foundation of the new Peace Council was laid, with Zara and Ethan as its principal architects. During the summit, Ethan spoke passionately about the need for unity and forgiveness. Today, we choose to forge a new alliance, not out of fear or necessity, but out of a genuine desire to see each other not as enemies, but as allies. Zara addressed the assembly with equal fervor, highlighting the importance of diversity and cooperation. The strength of our council lies in our differences, not in spite of them. Together, we can build a galaxy where war is a memory, and peace is the enduring legacy we leave for future generations. The summit concluded with a historic agreement, signed by leaders from Earth and the Vraxan system, pledging to uphold the principles of the Peace Council and work together for the prosperity of all. As they left the summit, Zara and Ethan felt a profound sense of accomplishment and hope. They had transformed their mission of assassination and secrecy into one of peace and openness. Walking through the corridors of the space station, hand in hand, they looked out at the stars. The galaxy seemed to them not a place of conflict and chaos, but a vast expanse brimming with possibilities. "We've changed the course of history, Zara," Ethan said, a note of awe in his voice. Zara smiled, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "Together we did, and together, we'll keep moving forward." Their journey had started with deception and danger, but ended with trust and unity. As they returned to their ship, heading towards their next adventure, they knew the path wouldn't be easy, but it was theirs to travel together, bonded not just by the love they found, but by the peace they'd created.